So, last episode, Kyle was talking to her life coach, who, by the way, is probably raking in millions just to sit in some fancy mansion and listen to rich people complain. And she was all upset about Mauricio treating their breakup like it's some sort of vacation. Apparently, he's having the time of his life while she's over there mourning the end of her marriage. And honestly, I get it. They've been together for 30 years, even if they were both unhappy and barely worked as a couple before going on this pause. That's a lot of history to just toss out the window. I don't know the ins and outs of Mauricio's cheating rumors, or whether he just got bored of Kyle, which, let's be real, is kind of relatable, but I understand why she's wishing he'd put up more of a fight for their relationship. Maybe he was sad and just moved on. I don't know, but still, it's confusing as hell. Now, Dorit's marriage. No surprise there. PK always seemed like the kind of guy who's more into his own interests than being a solid husband. Kyle and Mauricio. That was different. I didn't see that coming. I've been there myself, though. I cried like a baby for weeks after separating from my husband, and I was the one who wanted out. So, I get it. Kyle's whole life has basically revolved around her kids and Mauricio. It's no shock she's devastated. Once the agency took off, it seemed like Mount just checked out. As for the fling with Morgan, please. That was Kyle trying to get Mal's attention. He'd gone cold, and she needed to remind him she was still here. Problem is, he didn't bite. At the end of the day, I think Kyle decided to call it quits for whatever reason. And Mauricio? He just went with it. Now he's living his best life, while Kyle's left wondering why he's not fighting for their relationship. I think deep down, she still wants it all to come back together. She doesn't want to have to beg for it, though. She wants him to want it, and it's becoming painfully clear that she's not his whole world anymore. Ouch. I totally get why she feels that way. Maybe the cheating rumors or lack of support finally pushed her to take a break and give him a wake-up call. But instead of coming to her rescue with a "let's fight for this," he's over there buying condos, redecorating, and leaning into the single life. So now, Kyle's stuck with two choices. She can either give him an ultimatum or accept that he's moved on and let him go. Oh, the constant Sutton bashing, how original. But let's talk about Dorit, shall we? She's been unlikable from day one, and it's almost funny how people are glossing over her ever-growing witchiness. Seriously, she's so fake. I'm all for Beauvais, but she's really out here going to bat for Dorit, and I just can't get behind it. If I were Sutton, I'd be dragging Dorit, too. I don't get why people think she's so bad when I've never liked Dorit from the start. I used to ignore her because she just seemed like a boring, fake background character. But then the episode where she waltzed in 4 to 5 minutes late, making everyone wait for her Instagram photo shoot. That was the moment I actively started despising her. What's even more confusing is the sudden Dorit fan club that sprouted up out of nowhere. It feels so manufactured, like they're trying to make us forget the years of people thinking she was involved in the robberies. I didn't think she faked the home invasion, but let's not forget the majority of Housewives fans did. Where did all this new Dorit love come from? It's like a complete 180, and I don't get it. Sure, I can feel for what Dorit is going through, but I still can't stand her. Maybe now that she can't afford to rent Louis Vuitton anymore, she can start respecting people's time. Wouldn't that be nice? And isn't it hilarious that the same fandom that spent years calling her broke and pretending to live a fake life is now mad at another housewife for calling her poor? Lol. What a complete flip of the script. Like, seriously, this change in narrative is so out of left field. I recently watched some of Sutton's earlier seasons, and from the very beginning, both the cast and the viewers were after her. It's like people can smell weakness, and for some reason, they go after the easy target. Sutton's an easy scapegoat because she handles conflict so poorly, but let's be real. She rarely starts drama, except with Erica. The rest of them just decided she was the punching bag because it's an easy win. Ah yes, Sutton, the ultimate classist, snobby expert, who somehow managed to land her wealth only because of her super successful ex-husband. But let's all ignore that part. I watched the after show where she goes on and on about how much she can't stand Dorrit because she's phony for not being open about her financial struggles and her marriage. What's it to Sutton, though? Like, who's asking her? But hey, I'm sure Sutton has every right to judge. Come for me all you want. I can't stand her either. I really don't care. And Garcelle? She better pick a side fast because, in my eyes, that ship is sailing without her too. Maybe Dorrit does have her faults, but let's not forget. She's dying to be a classist, snobby expert herself. That's literally the whole reason we watch this show, right? All the drama, all the pettiness, all the gold digging. It's what we came for. But I'll be real. I'm really tired of people undermining Sutton's contribution to her household income. Like, it's so easy to forget that she created a home environment that allowed her husband to thrive at work. While everyone's busy calling her just a housewife, she was the one raising their kids and keeping things running so he could focus on his career. Does anyone ever stop to think about that? Probably not. But let's continue devaluing the hell out of stay-at-home moms, right? Oh, and don't even get me started on how everyone loves to hate on the woman who married her high school sweetheart, yet turns around and adores a gold digger who married a fake rich guy and ended up with nothing. Classic. Oh, Lisa Rinna's heel turn in Season 7. It's like a masterclass in hypocrisy, and I was there for every second of it. First, she brings Eden Sassoon onto the show and immediately starts planting this whole Kim is on the brink of death narrative, acting like she's some kind of addiction expert. She paints Kim's issues as if she's deep in relapse territory, and then proceeds to blame Kyle for supposedly enabling it. Eden, being the thoughtful and concerned person she is, responds, naturally, by showing concern for Kim's well-being. But of course, Rinna reads that concern as invasive because it doesn't align with her wild, inaccurate story. Fast forward to literally one episode later, and Rinna's in her confessional, acting like Eden is the problem, saying, "Careful, Eden, you're coming on too strong." Hello, you literally planted that idea in her head, Lisa. Eden got the shortest and most tragic arc ever. It's clear she was being used, and it's honestly heartbreaking. She could have been the level-headed voice of reason, maybe even a Brandy, but with a moral compass type. But no, Rinna nipped that in the bud fast. How anyone trusts Lisa Rinna after all that is beyond me. The LVP drama from the previous season. Total projection. Rinna was the one pulling the strings all along. It was genuinely devastating watching it all unfold. Eden was just trying to help, based on her own experiences with addiction. She came in way too vulnerable for a reality TV show, and Rinna took advantage of that. I really hope Eden's doing okay now. Oh, and let's not forget the iconic moment at the agency event, where Rinna was sobbing in that green dress, acting like she was the one who'd been wronged. It was infuriating to watch. And honestly, the fact that Kyle kept up a friendship with her after everything Rinna said about Kim, I was beyond upset. It was hard to watch. Wow, we've made it to Season 10, huh? Watching the way these women behaved at Denise's pizza party was honestly bizarre. I mean, Kyle telling her to be quiet, and then having an entire conversation about threesomes right next to kids. Seriously, it's no wonder Denise was frustrated with everyone. I don't even get why the other women think Denise is the one overreacting. She's never had sexual conversations in front of children before, so why now? I'm not the biggest Denise fan, but I'm genuinely confused as to why they think their behavior was acceptable at her house. Look, I don't exactly love Denise and her husband. They give off some weird vibes, but this whole situation, it was insane. There were kids at the party, kids who weren't even hers. Plus, her youngest has special needs that no one seemed to consider. That's a huge red flag right there. And while I do think Denise probably lied about her oldest being upset about the conversation, let's be real. She's not exactly known for telling the truth. But still, the way they acted, completely ignoring the kids, and the whole co-parenting situation with Charlie Sheen was just reckless. I'm honestly shocked other parents even let their kids over there after all the drama. Is anyone else watching the new season of White Lotus? Because Parker Posey's character totally screams Sutton. Like, her whole vibe, from the way she talks to her mannerisms. It's giving major Sutton energy. Am I the only one who sees this? Honestly, she feels like someone who could have been part of the Dallas franchise. And the way she acts, it's so Meredith Marks. The weird slurring, the slow, deliberate speech. It's like she's constantly half asleep. But then she laughs at her son's jokes, and it's straight up Patricia from Southern Charm levels of awkward. Rewatching season 1 and wow, I forgot how absolutely unhinged Camille was. She was basically a walking embodiment of horny, lonely, desperate housewife energy. The inauthenticity is painful to watch. How did they even bring her back for another season? She's so fake, it's like everything she says is a blatant lie. The way she grins like a maniac while gaslighting Kyle, it's like watching a car crash in slow motion. So bizarre. This woman is completely unhinged. And don't even get me started on the weird dynamics with her friend Nick and her house manager. It's like watching a reality TV version of a circus. I've never liked her, and rewatching this season reminds me exactly why. She's just a weirdo and a liar. It's honestly wild how she seems to think everyone's just so jealous of her, like, girl, no. The funniest thing is, she only keeps people around who will endlessly agree with her and blow smoke up her ass. And that whole kissing her friend's husband on the lips and giving him those do-me eyes. Major Ike. I do have to admit though, watching her go to Kelsey's apartment in New York and get shut down when they tell her she's not Mrs. Grammer, that was some comedy gold. Now, my personal theory is that Camille was really trying to channel some Dina energy. Season 1 of New Jersey was airing around the same time they filmed, and her whole vibe is so similar to Dina's, smug, accusing everyone of being jealous. The only problem is, Dina had to deal with Danielle Staub, who was a real crazy person on camera, which made Dina look pretty sane in comparison. Camille, however, chose to go after Kyle, who was genuinely giving off more authentic and grounded energy. And seriously, what was up with that fight between Camille and Kyle, where Camille kept insisting that Kyle said, "Why would they film you without Kelsey?" I usually don't trust a word that comes out of Kyle's mouth, but honestly, I think Camille was just so wound up over her divorce that she completely misheard or misunderstood what Kyle was saying. Just wild. So, turns out Morgan Wade's Wilder Days came out almost exactly 1 year before she and Kyle even became friends. At least that's what my super thorough, highly scientific Google search tells me. And here I was, thinking the song was some deep reflection of Morgan wishing she had known Kyle back when she was living her wilder days. Classic me, always overthinking everything. Oh, and if you haven't heard the song yet, it's actually a bop. I mean, it's one of those songs that makes you want to roll the windows down and pretend like you have your life together, even if you absolutely don't. Here's a taste of those lyrics. Hand in my hair and you said, I looked pretty. You're so devious, rolled in from the windy city, yeah. I ain't got a clear view. Tell me what you're wanting me to do and you tell me every single secret in your mind. Come on, baby, we got nothing but time. You say, I'm too young for you. You're scared I'm too right for you. Oh, and the absolute kicker, I wish I'd known you in your wilder days. Because who doesn't want to meet someone when they've had enough of those crazy, reckless, I'm still figuring out who I am days, right? Definitely not me. Then, the song takes a weird turn with, what were you like when you were a little wilder? Why don't you show me? Why don't you show me? As if the whole thing isn't already packed with longing and regret, we're now asking for an encore of chaos. But hey, if it makes you feel any better, Kyle probably doesn't know what to do with this vibe either. Ah, the magic of wilder days. Kim's confessionals in Season 4 are definitely a highlight. Her humor comes across as incredibly natural and unplanned, which makes her segments stand out, even if the rest of the season hasn't always been as engaging. It's one of those moments where her genuine comedic timing really keeps viewers entertained. As for Carlton, it's unfortunate that she doesn't stick around longer. Her brief presence leaves an impact. Meanwhile, Joyce, while not the most exciting personality, has certainly become memorable due to her hair, which now seems like an aspirational goal for some viewers. However, Carlton lost credibility with many fans when she claimed to dislike Kyle simply because she had a dream where Kyle supposedly talked negatively about her. While I'm not a fan of Kyle either, that justification felt a bit far-fetched. On a side note, Joyce's interactions with Brandy were pretty heated, with Brandy calling her Jacqueline and Joyce, which added a layer of tension. That kind of behavior was further supported by Carlton, Yolanda, and LVP, which only made the situation more complicated.